By the late autumn of 1112, the Baron was finally ascending to the preeminence that he felt was his ultimate destiny. His army marched with confidence as it crisscrossed western Calradia, smashing aside all challengers. On the other hand, the Baroness Lyanna was now firmly under house arrest at Castle Tirby and had no way to send further messages to anybody, including Emir Wazuban. Nor would any of these messages have reached him anyways, for Wazuban was now imprisoned at Castle Sestadheim after his first major defeat in recent memory to no other than the son of Baron York Hal. Meanwhile, the Baron no longer even pretended to respect his wife Lyanna, and now openly flaunted his growing flock of mistresses. His latest addition and new favorite was Clara, the younger sister of his former favorite Lys, who was slain in battle earlier in the year. While many disapproved and some were disgusted by the Baron's actions, no one dared cross him at this stage, knowing his vindictive and merciless mind and penchant for sniffing out treason. Now the only question was, is there any end to the Baron's depravity? And if so, when would it ever end? Hand out spoils, but man, it's hard to give these guys money now. Like, we're really hemorrhaging funds. After giving George some money here, we're pretty broke. Let's fire an episode up right here. Welcome back again, friends, to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related. Welcome back to our epic Vlandian campaign. We are back with the Baron, of course. We're going to stay with him for a few 3 episodes. In between these sort of multi-running campaigns here, the Baron obviously is the main story, and his children, how will they figure into this campaign? Well, you're going to have to watch and see. I'm trying to keep things lively here. Now, right before I started recording here, we added a new player clan. The previous episode, we made some major gains to the east, and we handed out our first player clan to Marshal Sax, aka Joel Hall. He runs our Discord. He now has Carbantheth, right? So Discord is being ran out of Carbantheth, which is a great city to defend, and 600 defenders there. Meanwhile, we gave George the Bandit King, we ennobled this fella as another Patreon supporter, and fortunately we have a whole bunch of bandits in this castle, or at least some bandits, Sea Raider chiefs and whatnot, for George the Bandit King to start his new little bandit empire. I love this, right? This guy's character, this is straight from his own campaign, just copy pasted into ours. We're not going to do that a whole lot, but especially the Patreon supporters, we may do that here and there, especially if it fits sort of the role-playing element, the Baron with all his bandits. Now, this is the new mistress of the Baron, right? How low can he go? At least she's not 14. He's not utterly despicable, just mostly despicable. A few of these characters we've edited. In fact, this is another Patreon supporter we have added, and we'll continue to add these guys. And you can see, if you want to pause, I've edited a lot of the encyclopedias just to add to the lore of the campaign and the lore of what are people calling, Tactical Enlightenment's universe. Of course, Entho the Black. We're going to have to ennoble this guy, right? That was the rebel that helped us. This is another Patreon supporter with a very lengthy story. I appreciate all the stories you guys keep sending in, and I will do my very best to get those in-game as we can. I might not spend 2-3 minutes talking about it, but the encyclopedia is at a minimum, and we will try to enrich the storyline with these guys' details as this campaign goes along. Sometimes it's contradictory and we won't get them in there. Other times it beautifully matches the campaign, right? We get somebody who will write in a really cool background to a character, and I'm like, man, that's exactly what this campaign needs. Or other times it's like, nah. Now, the Wolfskins, for some reason, that is perplexing. They are figuring into decisions here as if they're a player clan. That's a new one for me. I wonder if it's because I brought them in. I wonder if they're our clan now. That's really strange. Now, this is a problem, and our financial situation is actually pretty dire. Right before I started the episode, we were about to sell some goods. This episode may be a little bit slower because I'm probably just going to include a lot of these little elements here. We're going to be selling some trinkets over here. Fortunately, I've learned to do this pretty quickly. We'll look for really nice items as we always do. I take 5 seconds just to make sure there's no, masterwork Rampai or something like that. And then, of course, we will continue to sell weapons. Now, I want to bring food to our eastern locations. I'll talk about that somewhat in this campaign, especially since there will probably be some travel time. But we're also going to continue to sell items at every single town. At this stage, normally gold is not a problem, but the Baron here is handing out spoils, and it's important to get those player clan leaders, not the underlings, but the leaders like George the Bandit King, to give them some money, give them some influence. Eventually we'll give them troops, or at least that's the hope. And all of these are things you could do to benefit your player clan. We'll talk about that extensively. Now, this castle has been under siege forever. So you can just tell it's not a huge force, right? Otherwise they would have sieged it down. In fact, I think it said it was a single army. Now, we're not doing ransoms for like 1,000. There it is. It's a single army. Saluk of the Sturgeons is sieging it by himself, right? So that tells you that we're going to be able to easily meander our way up there, carrying all this food. You want to give new cities. You want to give new cities food along the ways. That way they, if they get sieged, the garrison doesn't starve, right? That's why you're stockpiling food in the early going of a campaign. And that's about all the money I can give you there, George, right? We'll give him 100,000. We're back to 70,000. That's how much I like you guys, right? We're giving you all our money. You guys just send over your account details. I will wire you American dollars. If only is that easy, right? Maybe I'll will when I die some years from now, I will will a bunch of money to my Patreon and YouTube supporters, right? Who knows? We'll see how it goes here. Hopefully that's a very long time from now. Now, we still have a few player clan armies that are running around, but they're too small to add. We'll be able to add those soon enough. And this is bad, right? The Sturgeons are forming more armies here. I was really hoping the Sturgeons would be busier with the Khazate. This is a small army right here. Let's see if we can trap these boys. Yeah, it looks like it. The AI, of course. Artificial imbecility is easily trapped here, and before this army even gets up and going, it gets aborted, and you're not going to be able to join it here because we're just going to slaughter it. Now, we'll fight some battles in this episode where we're lopsided, but I'm going to try to auto-resolve more battles, especially like this. I am worried we'll get companions die in larger battles, and of course, we're still upgrading troops. That guy's like that guy looked literally like a lake rat wrecker. That was cool. He was a sturgeon or a Nord Lord, and he looked like a lake rat wrecker. He even had the javelins. That's pretty cool. But these smaller battles, 180, we'll just auto-resolve these here. The Sturgeons continue to be the biggest problem, right? The Aserai are on their deathbed. We still have to finish them off. We had a tumultuous, huge battle at Ox Hall. That was pretty much their death knell. They've got 2 castles left, right? So that should be all there is for the Valandians. And then, of course, it's on to the next challenge for the Baron. Right now, that's the Baron's priority, but hello, Ragnvad. That is the idiotic Grand Prince of the Sturgeons. Let's try to trap him here. Now, I like to make, these missile groups, and we need to give George some good units here. I don't have a lot of cavalry. 41 cavalry is not very much. The Baron has had a hard time upgrading cavalry throughout this campaign, although at times we've had huge, vanguards of cavalry. I keep donating them to companions. That way they move faster. We'll give George a bunch of elite troops here. A lot of guys will say that's counterintuitive. You're giving all your units high-end troops. Don't they put them into garrisons? Yeah, but all these castles at this stage we're going to claim, and then at some point or other I will kind of clean the garrisons out and leave garrisons that I think are appropriate. Now, this idiot right in front of us, Ragnvad, is going to join this siege. And he must be getting senile in his old age. He says it's been a while. Well, it's actually, the power bars are really close. And that's why, right? His army is stacked. He's got a bunch of elite troops. So I told you we're going to do this here and there. I'm going to fight this out, and I will continue to ramble. This episode may not be thrilling, and it may. You know, the nature of Bannerlord sometimes, you get thunderstorms like this and dramatic battles, and other times you get a series of lopsided battles. I have said repeatedly that a lot of this campaign, of course, we were going to show the highlights, and then when it got to the nitty-gritty, right, the early stages of the campaign, we were going to show a bit more. So I think we'll fight a few of these battles here, and I can talk about some of the upcoming plans for this campaign. One of them for sure is this continuing expansion of player clans, and hopefully you guys noticed the location of George the Bandit King's castle, the furthest possible from Sturgeon forces. That is so that George can be an asset without his castle immediately getting stomped. Right? If you put your player clan castles right on the frontier, they're way more vulnerable to attack. Now, castles, of course, don't provide a lot of revenue. George is not going to be rich. That's why I gave him some money. Oh shit, I'm running too fast here. However, Marshal Saxe is on the frontier, but if you noticed, he had a garrison of 600, right? So that's going to be a place that we make a stand with Marshal Saxe, and due to the nature of the sieging system, we'll have 3, 4, 5 days usually to get back there and help if and when it gets sieged. It's definitely more like when, not if. It's going to get sieged. Now, do just a real quick development process of these sturgeons as I continue talking about it. How many player clans? I've seen some guys have like 15 player clans. And I see a lot of complaints on Reddit, and complaints is maybe not the right word. People curious, you know, what do I do with player clans? Do I put all my companions in one army? Do I call all the player clans to me? How do you get them to make armies? How do you get them to be effective? How many is too many? How many is not enough? I'll give you some of my philosophies in this episode on that, especially since this battle doesn't, besides the gnarly lightning and thunder, doesn't rate to be overly exciting. I'm going to systematically move our units in here. Unless we get reinforcements, of course, that could definitely happen. I'm just going to take the high ground here with skirmishers, sharpshooters, and obliterate Ragenvad, the idiot. Of course, we've talked about that on the role-playing level. Ragenvad is, at this stage, he's kind of the bitch Grand Prince of the Sturgeons. Ostensibly, he's in charge, a little bit like Guzid, although I can just tell you from a role-playing level, the Nords don't think much of Ragenvad. They basically think he's just an old, complacent, incompetent debauch of a leader, and the Nords are clearly asserting themselves. That's the dominant power here. Some of the guys like Glaron, Heavy Hand, which of course is the menacing bald guy with the blue face from the trailer. There are some incredibly powerful Nord characters in this campaign, and I think I touched on it in the last episode. So player clans, we'll get back to that here as I spew some of these guys in the back. I'm looking for Ragenvad. I would love to cut him down myself. I might even kill him in battle. I think a good rule of thumb is about 4 or 5 total player clans in a campaign. Now, I guess if your campaign was, a vast amount of territory against one enemy, then maybe you could do 6, 7, 8. But I think it really comes down to fiefs. You want to give your player clans fiefs, otherwise they don't have any way to make money. They will collect loot and sell it. They have a little bit of capacity to get money outside of cities, but if you can give your minor clans a city that makes 3,000 or 4,000 a day, especially if they have a couple, 3 other castles and other access to troops, they will make large armies, right? And they will then combine those large armies. They will get influence. What's great about Bannerlord is it's not perfect as far as the city side goes, but okay, that should do good there. Just a nice blasting cavalry flank while our infantry hold the center. Cut a few guys down here. I thought I saw Ragenvad in here. Anyways, what I was saying, I'm looking everywhere for him. I just don't see him. What I was saying, though, is that your player clans operate very much like you as a player, right? Wait, I think that was him. I think I just saw his helmet in here. Let me get him. Where's he at? We'll cut Ragenvad down. And now I don't see him. I saw him, and I don't. I think someone just killed him, too. All right, anyways. Ragabad's captured like a bitch. So your player clans need all the same things that you need for success in Bannerlord. What is that? Of course, starting equipment, skills, that's obvious, right? You want to equip your player clans before you send them off into the world, although a lot of the times the AI just refits their outfit. In other words, if you give them javelins, it'll like take them off and put a bow and arrow on them or do something stupid like that. Not much control about those kind of things you can do. The idea is you're ennobling them, right? You're making them in charge. And what do we know about people in the world, right? A certain percentage of the population is a dipshit. They have no idea how to live life. They do stupid stuff all the time. Usually they're innocent about it, but they're going to make bad decisions. And the AI it's basically reflective of that, right? It does stupid shit. So you can equip them, give them some good skills, give them a starter kit, but how they do in the world after that is a little bit on the random side. However, you can alter things like their influence, like the amount of troops they have, right? You can shove troops into their garrison. And I like early on to micromanage their garrison. I will take a close look and make sure it's plus, right? You can actually see the progress. It'll say plus or minus. If it's minus, you need to find out why. Do they not have enough money, right? These are the kind of things you can micromanage. Now this is weird. We're getting all kinds of influence altering decisions here by our minor clans. I don't know if I've ever seen this before, and I'm not running any mods that would affect, I think, that would affect diplomacy. We've got the Wolfskins demanding cities. That ain't happening, right? These guys will just leave you. And what happens? And the city goes to the other kingdom, I presume. I don't know. Now, it's tempting to start ransoming some of these units, right? The Baron is so broke. This guy's the leader. Let's not ransom him. Let's see if we can add him. I don't know. I thought you're maxed out at 3 minor clans, but maybe if you talk them into joining you via money, there's no limit. I don't know. It seems like the Wolfskins are a player clan now, which would be a first for me. Never seen that before. I digress. So we're going to continue to give our player clans money, influence, troops. We'll do more of that later. Right now we're in the training wheel stage, and fortunately I have so much equipment here. Every city I'm just going to be able to sell a bunch of muddy boots and stuff like that, and we'll make heaps of money. There's actually a lot of food here at Carbanthus. We have so much food that, I mean, you could argue we could take another city and apply it to it. Now, the militia's going down. You see that -1. But there's a good-sized garrison there. That's a nice defense force. And I think there's an argument to be made for really quickly trying to snipe Dunglanys. You can see it's rebelling. There's no militia. So all we got to do is plow through 300 defenders with this army, presuming we don't get backdoored by something. We can add another city up here in the Highland Arena, stabilize, the loyalty there, and then finish off the Aserai. I think it makes sense to try to do it since it's right here. We have an overpowering army compared to the garrison. Oops, my finger went straight to execute. That's the Baron's mindset. It's been a while. Here, I have an offer for you. Join us. I'm saying I'm in charge. You know me as a man of honor. I'm not sure people would buy that from the Baron. Yeah, he's definitely not a man of honor. He tried. How about that? All right, we got to get a critical success, I think. Otherwise, what are you doing standing next to my mistress for, motherfucker? How did he get... What's she doing over there? I don't know if I want this guy anyways. She's my mistress. The Baron's mistress. Simply not comfortable. All right, well, we lost out our chance, I think, to add them. But I'm going to keep trying to do that because, of course, the Baron needs help in this campaign. And he's not, he's not beyond a little bit of persuasion here to add these guys. So this is, not sure I want that troglodyte looking fella or his Super Mario brother clan leader, but we need help, right? And the Baron's not begging, that's for sure. I might loop around to the south and go around all these mountains too, but I think we're going to try this real quick. If nothing else, the Sturgeons will have to siege this, or at least they'll probably siege it, and it'll slow them down getting to Carbanthus, right? It'll buy us some time when we go and try to destroy the Aserai. Or excuse me, when we go and try to destroy the Valandians. Speaking of the Aserai, of course, if you saw the cutscene, I'm sure you did. I already had it planned when I'm playing this out. Right? I'm planning basically a cutscene for the episode that I'm playing right now. Okay. I got some sturgeons looming nearby. I wonder if they'll join this battle. You know that Wazuban is in prison, right? The Aserai leader. If you're following the campaign closely and doing your homework, I'm sure you guys are taking notes like Raymond and Rain Man. Dustin Hoffman's amazing character of a guy with autism. I'm sure you guys are taking notes, right? You got your little clipboard. Anyways, just to update you in case you weren't, Wazuban was captured by Hal, no less, right? The son of Baron York. And so Wazuban, the mighty Wazuban and true leader of the Aserai, is not available, right? They're busy. He still thinks the Baron York is dead, and Lyanna has been given 1 year of peace. Of course, Lyanna is trapped, right? Lyanna is basically a prisoner at Tyrby Castle. The Baron doesn't trust her anymore. In fact, frankly, he's turning to other women, right? He's got a mistress, and he's basically waving it in front of her nose like, yeah, you see, you really aren't that important to me. Watch your step, basically. Now, this should be a quick smashing unless we get reinforcements. Of course, I have learned basically to anticipate reinforcements. The flip side, though, I will tend to blow through these and be, I don't want to say careless, but we're going to kind of hurry through these so that these mundane sieges don't really matter that much. In fact, I can finish that point where I've interrupted myself 9 times. Some of the guys are really driven crazy by this narration style, but it's necessary when different things are happening, and yet I have a train of thought that I'm trying to keep. They're pounding us with archers here and crossbow, but once we close, it's going to be a shellacking time. So player clans, very important that they have resources, right? Otherwise, all you get is the nobles, and they have a very difficult time making armies, right? They won't, if you have a player clan that has no fiefs, no castles, no cities, they will exist and they may have an army, but they're much less likely to have an army, and they're also, it's almost a sure thing that they're going to have an army full of scrubs because they can't get troops anywhere except villages. We do have little mods that are giving these player clans a couple troops here and there. I've mentioned that before. The strengthen AI mod does affect it affects minor clans to player clans. So Marshal Sax, his character is getting like 2 or 4 free troops each day that goes by. I can't get around that fact. All the other nobles in the game are getting free troops. So if we have a couple player clans getting 4 and 2, I don't think that's unbalanced at all. But they don't really have any capacity to get good troops. So, your Marshal Sax, say for example, re-seized Carbansiphone. You can actually say, yeah, I want this city back, right? I know I gave it to you. I said you could have it. You're a noble. You can actually just take it from him. Well, the consequences of that are significant. He would run out of money. He would not have any influence. And we're just scorching these sturgeons. They're just getting shot to pieces here. And Marshal Sax wouldn't really have an army. He wouldn't really level up. His character then wouldn't gain influence. The system does a pretty good job of sort of simulating when there's player clans in your kingdom that it's like you running around, right? They have to have all the same ingredients for success. They've got to have influence. They've got to have money. They've got to have troops, etc. So I think a good rule of thumb is 1 city and 1 castle is a nice maximum for your minor clans. Look at these guys on this. You're here late to the party, dude. The city's gone before the guys even got to the wall with their tower. At least I think it's gone. There's a lot of tough sturgeons here. Let the Baron, I'm not afraid of a heavy spearman. Off with your head, dude. Now, if they have weak cities or weak castles, maybe a couple, 3 castles, I think you could argue for more, right? If you're giving them weak cities, I think there's getting trapped. I think there's an argument to be made, if they just have weak cities, that you could give them a couple, maybe a couple, 3. But like I said, we're going to continue to try to boost their cities. We're going to give them food. This is why you stockpile early in a campaign. People all the time say, what do I do at this stage of the campaign? I've got nothing to do. I'm a noble, or maybe you're even a mercenary. Gather food, gather resources, gather money, And then when you become a vassal, gather even more food. There's no such thing as too much food. You just want to keep getting more because you're going to eventually be putting it into cities. Cities get sieged by the enemy. Maybe a minor clan has a city you've given them and they get sieged. Make sure you have some food. You can drop 1,000 food into the market. That then feeds the citizens. It gets rid of any starving garrison problems. It raises the loyalty, etc., etc. So, not sure why this siege isn't over yet. I guess they're chasing the last scuzzy guys to the door here. And a huge blowout. This was very, very beneficial. Just to very quickly smash through Dunglanys. Add this to our resume here. We're going to have to stabilize the loyalty. This place is rebelling. And, you know, getting ripped apart in a siege is not going to help. But this is a pretty big ad here. And I'm already starting to think, right, of how I want to order my cities and castles, right? Roll Vault is kind of a problem because the Aserai have it. Whoops, we just destroyed the walls there, sacking the city. I don't think we have space.
Your health.
Okay, we've got a small list of Patreon supporters and YouTubers that have characters they want to get in this campaign. So don't die. Those of you that have a character, there's a little added stress, right? Because if your character dies, there's going to be a couple 4 people ahead of you in line to get into our campaign. It's not a big deal, but I understand, and I think I can imagine it really ups the... See here, that's expensive horses. We're going to have to sell a bunch of shit here to buy all those horses. Fortunately, we have a bunch of shit. It's probably fun to ride along in a campaign like this and have some stress of it, watch your guy racking up kills or see him in combat. And of course, occasionally we're playing your character, when they, just like we did with George the Bandit King, right, at Ox Hall. When Baron York goes down, we can just take over one of your characters and go out there and hopefully whip some ass. So I recognize it's a lot of fun, and I'm going to keep doing that element in campaigns, this one and beyond. Of course, guys are already saying, how can I be part of the Norse campaign? Well, the easiest route for sure is Patreon. I've got no choice but to give priority for the people who are supporting the channel the most. That's just the way of the world. It's an oligarchic world for sure. But obviously, if you have interesting character ideas, you can fire them over to me either on a YouTube message or, of course, on Discord. Now, this is great, right? The militia, I don't know why it's growing. It says, oh, because of low loyalty. For some reason, the militia's going up. I think that's basically simulating a rebellion. That's really interesting. We got to fix the loyalty here, right? You see it's +6. So some bread and circuses here. Dunglanys should be out of rebellion stage pretty quickly, but it also could rebel like right now, right? You can hear that clunk sound, and all of a sudden you see the flames and pitchfork and shit, and the next thing you know, we've wasted a couple 4 days at Dunglanys here. Now, I don't know where that Sturgeon army went. That's a little disconcerting, right? There's another army out here. There could be multiple armies, right? The Sturgeons, it's kind of unknown because on and off, they're at war with the Khazate. It seems like they're at war with them for a week and then they have peace. So, it's going to be kind of hit and miss, but the Baron's probably not ready to deal with the full Sturgeon invasion at this stage, right? They are uber powerful. Now, the Valandians are just begging for peace, but there's no amount of money at this stage that the Baron will accept peace, right? He's got his foot on their neck. He's gonna step, right? He's gonna put all his weight on one foot. It's time to put down these disgusting, vile, pompous. I feel like quoting Fish Called Wanda, or what is it? Michael or Kevin Kline's character, Otto, just goes ballistic on Cleese in that one scene. Like 90% of you are like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" The 10% of you will love it. You pompous, stuck-up, snot-nosed, dick-face, shithead, asshole. And you guys like, you want me to apologize? Anyways, I better not go too far into it. If you young guys haven't seen A Fish Called Wanda, it's one of the few movies from the 80s and 90s that I think will age well. Still pretty fucking funny today, especially, of course, if you're from the UK. I imagine the UK folks have all seen A Fish Called Wanda. It's probably a classic there. Anyways, so I'm hoping that's okay. I'm worried about that Sturgeon army in there, somewhere in that fog. But we're going to swing by Pencannock here. these neutral Aserai. We're going to take all their food, sell some more equipment, and hope that Dunglanys makes it. And what I mean by that is that the loyalty's going up. And as that loyalty continues to go up, speaking of low loyalty, this place is rebelling too. Look at this shit. Risk of rebellion. Let's buy all this shit here before it rebels. They throw us out of the gates. Not sure we need a bunch of expensive horses. There is no food here. That's why they're rebelling. In fact, there's nothing really of value here. This is a little bit of a wasted trip, but it's on the way. Hopefully Dunglanys, though, we can stabilize the loyalty there, because I'm thinking maybe Entho, right? That might be a good player clan city for Entho. Entho the Black was a rebel, right? He was actually Revolt's rebels. I wish we could give him Revolt, but the timeline of that would be tricky, right? Because, of course, we're at peace with the Aserai, and we need peace. We can't exactly fight everybody at once right now. Now, the Valandians refuse to die here. In fact, there's a whole bunch more troops here. How can they... Man, they're following Ungard. That's like the King's army. He's down here somewhere. So the Valandians... They're not going down easy, and I'm not surprised, right? If you followed this campaign closely, every kingdom has fought tooth and nail at the end. A lot of people say vanilla Bannerlord is sort of anticlimactic. Well, once you add all these mods in, man, these kingdoms fight to the fucking death. I mean, it's amazing. That fight at Ox Hall was epic. I thought that was the last straw, but evidently the Valandians aren't done here. You know what? This is another example of efficiency. Ox Hall has 440 defenders. Verecsand Castle is here. There's injured troops in it, an injured noble. The Baron has better siege skill than most of the Lords of Calradia. So it kind of makes sense for me here that we would take Verecsand's castle and then rush up there and stomp that Vlandian force. I don't imagine it's very big. Maybe it's 600, 800. But if I can do this really quickly, we should be able to save Ox Hall and add this castle to our retinue. They have not began the assault yet, so I think we can pull this off. Anyway, so I would prefer to not give frontier castles to player clans, right? Ostrakhan would actually make a really good candidate, but right now that's sort of Baron York's capital, right? When you have a small kingdom, you don't want to hand out too many spoils to your companions because, of course, to your player clans, because, of course, you need those resources. You need the influence. You need the troops. As soon as you give a player clan a city, everybody knows you can't pull from their garrison. They're not your troops anymore. So early on, you want to keep 90% of the cities and castles. And I add player clans slowly. What I would say, if someone's seeking a rule of thumb, maybe they're playing a campaign and they want to know what an experienced player does. In a normal campaign, what I would do is for every 3 or 4 fiefs you have, I would give one out. So if you had 12 fiefs, maybe you have 2 or 3 player clans, and they each have a city or a strong castle or something like that. Once you get to 15 or 20 cities and castles, so maybe you have 8 cities and 12 castles, then I'm okay giving out multiples to each player clan, giving them 1 castle, 1 city. The benefit of a castle is they usually get more troops and noble troops, right? A lot of times your castles... or maybe it's all the time, have the noble line. That's important for them, especially because a lot of their battles are going to be auto-resolved, right? Cavalry do pretty well in the auto-resolve function of the game. In other words, the simulation. Now, this castle is a pain in the ass to siege. I know that because it's a joy to defend. Look at the makeout of it, right? It's just... There's hyper concentration of the enemy in the courtyard. Those walls are going to be held to take. Now, fortunately, there's not a huge attacking force here, and we have an overwhelming force. But this would not be fun if they had 1,200 defenders here. I mean, there's only 3 accesses to this place. I mean, there's always only 3 accesses, but they're all right next to each other. And there's no real bifurcated way to get into it. That's always the best castle design. It also has these little moats where you're forced onto a narrow ramp and stuff like that. So I'm proceeding a little bit cautiously here because there's definitely a chance that we get 1,000 Valandians pouring behind us here. We've got this whole campaign, I've had to change the way I play because of the reinforcement mod, strength and AI mod, all of these different death for all mod, all these different difficulty mods are making this campaign feel, like I'm Napoleon watching out for the Prussian rearguard or something like that. It's a different game. That said, we should be able to flatten the defenders here pretty quickly, despite these defenses. I gotta get up in there and probably micromanage at some point. Now look at the barrage that these guys are under. I know I'm not normally going to do this right in the middle of it, but we just brought our skirmishers up. Look at these poor bastards trying to hold their shields up, accumulating javelins, getting killed because their shields break. It's a fucking gnarly assault. And again, highlighting the value of ranged weapons in Bannerlord. He who has ranged weapons, or she, wins the battle. Right? It's just a smoking. Half of their troops are already injured or bloody. It's beautiful to watch because there's all these javelins accumulating in shields. Troops are getting skewered. I think the realism to that is outstanding. The fact that, wherever you hit somebody, good job, boys. Wherever you hit somebody in the shield with your javelin, it sticks there, right? It sticks there like a little porcupine. I think that's a great effect. And it shows the amount of attention to detail in the game. Now, there's all kinds of things that are lacking. Bannerlord is really strange. It really is, in a lot of ways, like a supermodel who never wipes their ass or brush their teeth, like this gorgeous woman, and she just has onion breath. It seems like all she would have to do is brush her teeth, and it would be perfect. Maybe add some personality, of course, but it's one of those things that hopefully between the modders and just future work by Tailworlds, hopefully, they continue to tighten up how amazing this game is. Like the defenders here. Man, look at this tenacious defense. This is 500 defenders, and this is what I meant. This castle is no joke. It is not easy to get through here. I mean, I'm kicking and slashing my way through. There's Legionnaires just holding the line. Now, it'd be a lot more effective if they were just holding the access, right? In other words, holding the gatehouse and scorching us with arrows. That's the kind of thing it'd be nice to see the AI do, because it would really force you to think as a player. But this is nasty enough, right? We're just absolutely bottlenecked up here. It's a good castle design, right? Both historically accurate and also just from a Bannerlord perspective. The AI is defending pretty well. Now, again, they should have troops all the way over, all the way down there in the valley, just shooting the Baron to pieces right now, alas. It'll be nice to defend. We'll happily defend against 2,000 Asura in this castle. Now, I think I can drop down here. Okay, now we're good, because I'll be able to drag troops down here. This is definitely one of the easiest little hacks to siege, is tell your troops to get into the city. Tell them not to bother with fighting. You don't want them charging F1, F3 for the lose in a siege. There are certain situations where you want them to charge, but the first thing you gotta do is get them in here to fight. Right now we're being chased by a bunch of little scuzzy militia and their little ball-peen hammers. Let's get our troops in here, then we can charge. Right? If there was 1,200 defenders, this would be especially important. Alas, the enemies thrashed here pretty good. Of course, I talk about it all the time, but look at that shit. I told these guys to get in here, and they just shoved a hole. And of course, once they're in here, then you can charge. And the siege, just like that, it ends. And now they got a guy throwing rocks. I can hear the rocks hitting our troops. One of the little militia are in there chucking rocks down, inflicting a lot of damage. And I haven't seen, too many companions go down. No deaths, right? Of course, you don't want to suffer deaths in these little meaningless battles here, but we are rolling right along. We've covered player clans. At this stage, the Valandians are very much on death's door. They got one defender left, and Verecsand castle falls to us. No deaths. Beautiful. 200 casualties, that's acceptable. And most importantly, now we're going to be able to swing up to Ox Hall, smash the Valandians there, and then head down to finally finish them off. Or hopefully, I guess they could siege before then at, what is it, Hongard Castle? That looks to be the last throw for the Valandians, and we'll see, right? The AI has a tendency to put a lot of troops, and of course tons of nobles in its sort of location of last defense here. We'll see what this force of Valandians looks like, and then we'll head down there. See, 400 people. Our units are putting decent garrisons into our castles right away. Yeah, 553. We should be able to smash this Valandian force, something fierce, and then head down to Hongsgard Castle. And continue to buy food along the way, right? I know it's tedious, but you need this grain, right? Because I'm going to be dumping this grain into Marshal Sax's city. We need it for our own cities. You got to just continue to do that in your campaign. Now, Dunglanys should be good, right? It should be out of the loyalty stage problem. You see the Sturgeons have peace again with the Khazate. So back and forth we go. Sturgeons are coming probably, and we'll fight this short and sweet here. This should be an absolute ass whipping. Indeed, an absolute ass whipping. And how beautiful is this at the end of this battle to see George the Bandit King throwing javelins into the faces of Jawals. And one more uppercut here to the Valandians. They're now set up on a T for us to smash them to pieces at Hongsgard Castle. Unless the Sturgeons interfere here, the Valandians are on the extinct list. Now, man, we continue to lose player clans. Not player clans, but minor clans. Of course, that's the death for all mod. That's just a feature of this campaign. We're going to have death. It's just, there's no way around it, fellas. Fortunately, we haven't lost any companions in this episode. You just cross your fingers each battle. I want that stress, right? In vanilla Bannerlord, nobles seem like they never die, and I think that's highly unrealistic. So we'll do a little bit of maintenance in this city. I think since we're here, we'll run over to the city, sell some more equipment, continue to pile up cash, take a look at the garrison here, and then head down to Hongsgard Castle. And I'm looking down. It'll probably be a bit of a long episode, but I think it makes sense to try to squeeze it all into one, especially if this is the last Valandian last gasp. And maybe it'll be anticlimactic. We'll see. We can add this minor clan here. Run to Hawks. Get a little caffeine and some upgrades here. So always trying to, especially before Entho becomes a vassal, trying to get him to those attribute points from endurance, from athleticism. Very important to do that. That just makes him more powerful. And we got to get that guy a fief, right? He was instrumental in 5 or 6 battles. It was a really cool addition to the storyline, something that basically happened in-game, and we're going to roleplay with it, essentially taking some of the organic things that happened in the campaign and now adding it, Baron York's new lieutenant, or at least a lieutenant, right? I guess Marshal Sax is Baron York's lieutenant. I appreciate that, Joel. You're not a subordinate, by the way. You're a brother. All right, so I guess there's nothing left to do but just squish these Valandians, right? Before we start handing out spoils here, let's make sure that all the rodents are out of our castle. Pick up some goods here on the way. Tell these villages, nah, we're not asking. You will give us your sons to fight. Otherwise, we're going to sack your village. The Baron is about as despicable as they get when it comes to villages. He's absolutely ruling by fear. Now, this is what I meant, right? Look at the garrison going up. 253, that's beautiful. 600 militia, 500 militia at Carbantheth. These cities are in good shape. Even if they're sieged right now, I think I would still try to kill the Valandians and finish them off. That's what I talked about earlier. So important to make sure they have a decent garrison and make sure those militias have all the right settings to build up nice defense forces so that we can try to defend those if and when the Sturgeons arrive. Right now, of course, it's only the Sturgeons because the Valandians are down to just this castle. And it looked like there was over 1,000, which is a problem. And there's a probability of reinforcements here. 1,400. And you know what? This castle layout, it looks identical to, what was it, Verecsand Castle like 20 minutes ago. So hold on to your hats here, folks. We can lose for sure on the channel. I narrate and play these live. I guess I don't really have any other garrisons nearby that I could pull. Let's just win. Let's just be successful. How about that? We have, had some sieges in this campaign and on the channel where we had to back out and try another time. It depends kind of how many reinforcements come behind here. But this is a nasty castle, and I'm sort of trying to brainstorm advantages, something that we can do in this castle. What kind of things? Davelbard. Who the fuck is that? Oh, you know who that is? This is great. Look at this shit. This must be Marshal Saxe, or this is George the Bandit King, dude. This is awesome. He's got a vassal who's already winning tournaments, right? The Baron York's little universe is growing here, and that didn't take long. As soon as they got peace with the Khazate, the Sturgeons start to come. In fact, that's their big boy, Glaron Heavy Hand. So the Baron's work never ends. But first things first, let's try to figure out some way to smash the Valandians here at this castle. Now, if it's the same layout, right, we just dealt with this. It's got a highly concentrated defense area. The courtyard is nasty. They're going to have literally over 1,000 troops just staring at us as we try to come over the walls. You know what we could try to do here? We could try to use the enemy's weapons against them. There's a fire catapult right there. I think they're building another one. This might be an instance where I let them keep a fire catapult and we try to commandeer it early in the siege. Right, if you can get an elite force. In fact, this is potentially the last battle against the Valandians. Let's build an elite division here and try to commandeer the gatehouse and that fire catapult, and let that be sort of the decisive manner in this siege assault, right? That fire catapult, it's damaged, but unless it gets destroyed, we'll be able to get up there and then rain those fireballs down on the enemy. Of course, it's easier said than done. We'll have to come up with a plan on how we get there into the gatehouse. The enemy's not going to roll out the step ladder and say, here, come into our gatehouse. But I've got some ideas. We've got a ranged heavy army here. Buckle up, right? Strap yourself in, friends. I like to say this all the time with these huge sieges with the reinforcement system. The Valandians are almost certainly going to add on attackers from outside. On horse, it's going to feel very much like the battle in the Pelennor fields. Of course, the Rohirrim roaring in with all these cavalry. And buckle up, right? This could be a gnarly final stand here. All right, I've got a siege tower on the left. Marco, I got to ask you to take that siege tower. We need you to distract on that left side. Of course, all of the forces, you know, should be able to arrive on some level inside the city. He's got 183 there. We've got a lot of infantry here. Let me see. We have very few archers, but we do have quite a few skirmishers, right? We still have a lot of lake rats. We have some Varangians. They're just kind of sneaking into our army. And there's the fire catapult. So it's on the left side of the gatehouse. So let's see what we can do here. We can have a skirmisher division of weaker skirmishers that fire throwing weapons but don't go up right away, right? That way they don't get mauled. They'd get destroyed on the walls. But lots of javelins, right? Those guys can fling javelins in a shield wall, protect themselves from archers. And then let's make, we haven't done this in this episode much, or in this campaign much. I used to do this a lot more. I think it makes a lot of sense to do it here, right? Let's take all of the heaviest hitting, the nastiest melee units we can get. Let's get Ramirez. Let's get Berwyn, Odnor. Let's get everybody, right? All of our garrison, George the Bandit King. Let's get all of our best melee units into an elite 4th division. They will lead the way. Let's try to seal off the gatehouse, obtain that fire catapult, and then hopefully the city will be ours, right? Once we start lobbing explodable rounds down on the enemy and we have a breach on that left side, we can shove through troops through the center of the door. The walls are going to be unbelievably pounded. We do have a fire catapult, right? So we're going to have our own siege. Now, the danger, of course, in the short term is it's a gamble. That fire catapult's going to be aimed at our face. So we've got to get up there kind of quick. Hopefully 2 minutes. In fact, here it comes. Get down, boys. Okay, they only got 5 there. Hopefully we can get up there quick. We want to get our units over here to this left side. Not only is there a hill, we can shoot kind of... No, shit. Too much narrating, not enough commands. Give me a second here. Let's take a deep breath. All right, archers. 4th Division leads the way. That's the tough division. 2nd Division is skirmishers. Behind them, we'll bring them up and have them hold fire. Let's get some archers up here on the wall, and I want a reserve division of archers as well in case we're attacked from outside. That seems likely, but look at this hill here. This is beautiful. We can stick our 8th Corps up there for the moment and get these fucking archers off the wall, right? The enemy's got scores of archers just shooting away. They get the 2nd Corps here. Now, I'm going to hold fire with the 4th Division as well until they're about ready to go up the wall. Get the hell off of our fucking troops. There's fucking all kinds of archers just blasting us. I want to hold fire here because I want our forces concentrated and then just unleash hell. Now, the other side, Marco, I got to send you up there. You're going to have to do the best you can with the left. At least they've got a siege tower, right? Ladders are a lot more vulnerable, but we're not staying on the walls, right? We're going to try to seize that gatehouse immediately. Now, so far, so good. They haven't really scorched us too bad with the fire catapult. But each shot they take, of course, is one less for us, too, right? So I'm in a little bit in a hurry here. Not to mention reinforcements are probably coming, right? You can picture the cavalry's on its way. Let's bring this 4th Corps in here, and anybody standing on the wall here is about to have a very bad experience. Good night. Here comes the throwing axes by the hundreds. Javelins are going to start flaming guys. The 2nd Corps, I'm having them wait, right? We may use them if and when the enemy's really thick on the walls. We're starting to bring units up now. Look at all these fuckers. Oh, beautiful. Someone on that fire catapult just scorched the enemy. Now the 2nd Corps is there. Let's bring some archers closer. I'm probably going to leave most of the archers out initially here, right? As we go up with so many infantry, I think we can do a pretty good job here just with the 4th Corps. Try to get in there, maybe form a square in there. Our catapults, fire catapults are blowing shit up. Marco's arriving on the left. We've got all the best divisions here with the Baron, right? And apart from Marco, all of our best companions pretty much. Somebody's calling us a coward. Fucking horses in the way here. Let's park this for later on. 1st Corps is gone. Alright, I think now is the time, right? I'm worried about getting hit by that fire catapult. Your guys will happily immolate you. But look at our ranged assault there. They are blasting everything in sight. I wish the fire catapult would target the other side here, and I wish these guys would get up there and start shooting guys. There's George the Bandit King right there. Up we go, George. Let's take this shit. I gotta get up to that fire catapult. Ram just arrived at the door. It's good timing. There's a ton of defenders here. There's probably, yeah, the courtyard has, it looks like 5,000. The courtyard is full. That is amazing looking. Holy shit. All right, let's push through here. The 2nd Corps open fire, right? Just destroy everything in sight. Thank God there's no friendly fire. Now let's push our way into the gatehouse. It's just, of course, it's packed too. How can the enemy have so many troops? Well, the strength in the battle size mod, that's how, right? The enemy probably has 1,200 troops on the field right now. That's epic. Little militia in here you guys didn't expect elite infantry in your face, did you? There's like banner knights ripping through here. Let's carve apart this gatehouse and take that fucking fire catapult. Stubborn fucking shield wielding. Apologize for this view. I know the visuals aren't that great. I'm having a real hard time fighting. Just swing your weapon and hope it hits something. I'm going to get up here as quick as I can. Just call the 4th Division to me. Hopefully a lot of those guys can make it. Just like that earlier siege. Don't tell them to charge. I want them getting up here. I want these guys bodyguarding me. I got to cut through all these elite troops here. Give me this catapult. I'm not asking. You know, fucking Sturgeon soldier. Of course, these guys are indestructible. They got to be the toughest unit in the game. He's still defending. You little bastard. It's like a tier 3 or tier 4 infantry, and they're indestructible. All right, bitches. Have some fire, first degree burns. Right, how beautiful is this? Oh, you guys holding up the... Here, you guys defending that rampart? Oh, shit. Did we just hit Marco? I don't think so. Okay. There's lots of defenders coming. Good. Right, we want lots of defenders. Bring more. Bring... Oh, shit. That fire catapult almost hit me. It didn't, though, right? So let's keep lobbing these down here. The enemy's packed down there. Let's blow the shit out of them. And these are all shots that, instead of hitting our troops, are now blasting the enemy troops. It's beautiful. Look at, there's a big old wad of them down there. Catch! All right, some 4th Corps guys are fighting their way, fighting their way up here. Beautiful. Scorching City. Now we got to start pushing infantry divisions into the courtyard here. There's still a huge amount of defenders in there. And even more are coming now. This is where you just shove them in. Now, if they charge, just try to point them somewhere else, right? And if it keeps on charging, just have them follow you. I just want them in here. If they charge, they'll just get bottled up at the door. There's so many defenders. Now, the 4th Corps with me still, right? This is all our best troops. There's some Valandians in here. George the Bandit King. Ramirez. All the other guys that are part of the, you know, our companion list are in here in the gatehouse. It's beautiful, right? The enemy's trying to retake it. Good luck. Here we have like the medieval Delta Force here, just smashing fucking way. And they got little militia getting bloodied and carved apart. Holy shit, fucking archers down there. Let's shove infantry divisions into their archers. 1st and 2nd division. Now we can bring the 2nd Corps up, right? We've been keeping those guys outside. Thank God for a shield. There's a huge amount of defenders in there still. And they're starting to charge the walls. It's carnage. It's beautiful though, too. No reinforcements, right? We might be able to seal the deal here before the Valandians even get on scene. That's George right there. Kill him, George. Love it. Said it before, if you want to see your character in this campaign, as long as they're not above, I'll say like level 30, 32, send them to me, right? Send your save game to me. And then, of course, with a little bit of mod editing here, hopefully we can get your character into this campaign or future campaigns. Of course, you want to specify. You say, hey, I want to be an enemy. I want to try to kill Baron York. You can do that. By the way, for that side of thing, I'll accept any character. Like if you have a level 42 character and you want to try to kill the Baron, tell me which kingdom it should be a part of. Give me a little storyline and we'll see what we can do. Alright, let's swing around here. Let's try to use these ramparts and spread our troops out. Try to sort of keep the enemy from concentrating fire. Maybe we can backdoor a lot of these crossbow. They still have an enormous amount of troops in the courtyard. It's basically full. There's no room. I mean, that's awesome looking. We're a little bit cut up here, but I've got half a health bar. And we're starting to make a push here, right? The 4th Division is with me here. They'll be able to come in on the enemy's right flank. We're getting shot to pieces, but the guys are going to make it. 1st and 3rd should be coming through the gate soon. Get in here, Marco. Now's your time to shine, brother. And the 2nd Corps we can put also in here and just bring all the infantry and just try to basically swamp the entire courtyard with heavy metal. It's the original heavy metal song. Baron York and Company, the heavy metal division. All right, let's carve apart some of these little militia. Crossbow. Let my troops down, bitches. Of course, it seems like the tier 1 and tier 2 units defend the best. You cut right through a Legionaire, but then you get little militia crossbow and they parry everything. They're a little tiny hatchet. Get the fuck out of here. So aggravating. You're dead. All right, our divisions are pushing in, and look at that. They look like a giant testudo formation. Now you tell these guys to charge, right? Now that they're in here, charge. All of a sudden, they put their shields down and start swinging. The enemy's starting to get butchered. They're starting to flee right into the path of the Baron's sword. Not going to go well for you. He's always had an affinity for killing the helpless. The despisable Baron. He's like the worst of all time. I've said it before, it's war crime o'clock. Kill her. Osea is running for it. Cut her down. She's mine. Just killing women and children. That's the Baron in a nutshell. See how quickly YouTube bans me. I'll be like, you do realize, YouTube, that it's just full of violence. Like, this is like the least violent channel. More enemies are... Okay, so reinforcements are arriving, but they're too late. We have overwhelmed the courtyard. This, whatever defenders, 500 defenders that are in here, these guys are pigs to the slaughter. This castle is being smashed, Baron York style, and the enemy's basically trying to rout. They got completely shellacked here. It was bloody. It was obviously very difficult to get in here, and they're not giving up. No quarter. But it's a slaughter. Uh-oh. Ungar's part. That's the king. We better see what we got going on here. They're bringing in tons of heavy cavalry. They're still getting troops up the siege tower. Let's try to help these guys. They don't defend very well when they're lined up for the siege tower. They're static, and they just mostly try to survive. They hold their shield up. Occasionally they'll poke. It's almost like they're in a shield wall. There's a noble. That's the king right there. That's Ungar. Die. I wish I had a horse. My horse ran off, of course. Now I wonder how many this is. I didn't see an army join, but you just don't know. And of course, without the power bar, none of us know. I don't know if there's 200 Valandians here in a desperate attempt, or 2,000. They could have had a big army assembled at the last. It feels like a lot. There's a huge amount of cavalry on our right flank. I think let's play some defense here. Right? We've got the city. This castle is good for defending. Unfortunately, you don't get unlimited ammo in this situation, right? So we've got to sort of minimize our ammo use here. I'm concerned about the troops that are still outside trying to get up the siege towers. They don't do a real good job. In that situation, basically, they should abandon the siege tower, of course, and come through the door. Maybe that's something they'll fix down the road. But we've got several hundred troops in here. And no reason to go out there, right? It's a charnel house. It stinks of death. And there's more forces coming. This is starting to get ominous here. Now, 7, 8. I've got about 700 troops left. 650 maybe. Just kind of glancing at the numbers. A little quick math. Maybe you guys, somebody's there with their calculator adding it up, being like, hey, you have 712 troops. We're not going to bring up the little status bar, of course. That's something I never do. But let's set defensive lines here in case the Valandians have a last little surprise for us here at Hongard Castle. Come on in, bitches. We're the ones with the surprise. Let's see what we got going on here. I still got half a health bar. My shield is completely full of projectiles, but not too many have found flesh. Doing pretty well here. Now, the enemy will use the siege tower. I think there's some argument to be made to destroying it, but we still have troops trying to get up it. I see guys trickling in. I got a traffic jam here for some reason. Second, third. I told you second to move, stupid fucks. Second. Get over there. I don't know, maybe they're bottled up for some reason. Let's just send them all the way over there. Can't have a traffic jam like this. These guys will get slaughtered. Just go fucking away. And they should be moving. There they go. They're starting to shuffle down. I can use this rooftop. We got some archers already assembling on this roof over here, and buckle up, right? We said this before. I was worried this might happen, and I mean, I was hopeful it would happen too. At the same time, it's kind of, if you understand what I mean. Do we have any rocks here? Here we go. Let's do a little assessment of what's going on here. There's a huge amount of Valandians down there. That's what it is. Their cavalry's backdooring the shit out of our infantry on those ladders. Our troops are getting slaughtered there, but you want some of this shit? This is our fucking city. Our castle. That guy's like, I'm just trying to get in, my lord. Yeah, well, the Baron sees red right now. The gatehouse is already, and the courtyard is already an absolute graveyard charnel house. There's been incredible slaughter already, and we're not over it yet, right? They're starting to bring heavy cavalry through the door. These guys are attacking our square. Shit, they brought a bunch of infantry in when I wasn't looking. I'm conserving ammo. That's why these guys are not getting shot at. But we got to start having some guys fire. Right? We're going to have to bring up some reinforcements. This looks like at least 50 infantry here attacking our square. Die. Right, we got a bunch of sharpshooters. The second corps has a good amount of ammo. Thank goodness we held fire earlier in this battle. Right, we're going to need that ammo. It's hard to know how many enemies are here, right? I just know there's a lot, right? When I look out there, there's tons of crossbow They're leaving this side alone, but I think we're going to use this side, right? I can put archers on this long stretch here. Anybody that comes in the courtyard gets crossfire. And again, just like Ox Hall, we are now defending this castle against the original defenders. It's such a cool part of this reinforcement mod. And now we just can't let the Vlandians, celebrate any victory here at the end, right? Let's put these boys down. Shit. I don't know how many armies that is. That's several. There hasn't been a whole army yet, I don't think. But it's lots of small armies, and they keep on coming. Fourth, third, first. We've got about 250 infantry, so we can really bottleneck the gate. Troops are flying all over the place. They've got a bunch of archers outside, and this is a difficult situation because we're low on ammo. I can't just have everybody shoot because obviously they'll scorch us. Or more accurately, we'll run out of ammo, killing like 20 guys. That's a Lord. You're dead. She's mine. A 60 IQ Lord here with 500 hit points. Die! That horse is dead. I got a spear here. I can stand some of these horses up, but I can also get fucking couch lanced for 600 points. I don't mind some cavalry coming in. If it's just a huge press, all of a sudden we will charge. We've got a few units now shooting. I'm going to basically just keep some of them in reserve here in case there's a big infantry press. I've got two different squares that I can jam the gate up here too. Right? So defensively, I like how things look. We can very much limit the enemy's access, and then we can create a bit of a ranged false gap here at the back. Works very effectively in this situation. Just gotta not take a spear here. All these fucking banner knights running through the courtyard. Here comes the infantry, right? Enemy forces are pouring up. Now, this is our fucking castle. They're getting scorched. Can't see. Still got half a health bar. This is great. The feeling of stress is starting to rise, but I still feel like we're in charge. The trickle on the left of troops coming in is slowing down. That means the troops that we have that are there, that are trying to get in still, are all but dead. There's fucking horses and people dead all over the place. This is so gnarly. The enemy's starting to come up these fucking ramparts. There's arms and heads laying all over. I could grab a crossbow, but I really want to keep my spear in case I'm on a horse later in this battle. These battles become so epic. Man, you ain't throwing javelins, motherfucker. Oh shit, he's got Fee Enchant backup and an Elite Malavia top. Shit. Kill them, boys. And they're coming up 3 at a time. That's not good, right? Because it's hard to... You'll run out of ammo in this situation. I've got a lot of guys in that 8th Corps that are shooting, but they're shooting at 4 guys, 3 guys. It's a lot of ammo. That guy looked like he took a fall. That was like one of those football moves where the guys just flail. The guy doesn't even touch him, and the defender's like, oh, he fouled me. They're still pouring in sharpshooters. I was worried they would use this, and sure enough, I could try to destroy it, but it would take a long time, and I would get shot to pieces, I think. There's no siege weapons left. Some little Vlandian recruit, yeah, oh, just insta-dies. I got a bunch of sharpshooters still. I'm not eager to go out yet. There will be a point where we go out, right? When we start getting low on ammo, we're going to have to charge. Occasionally, I'm going to charge the door here and kill whatever comes in. 2, 3. Got 3 different active archer divisions that are firing. I think we just play defensive, right? The castle is ours. Let's not make any rash decisions here. Let's not stumble at the 1-yard line. I'm not seeing any javelins in this division at all. These guys are out. Those guys are out. More enemies are coming. Man. I gotta get some caffeine here. Let's do some assessment here. They got a lot of sharpshooters and a lot of cavalry. So what kind of advantages do we have? We have a lot of infantry, basically. We have sharpshooters, we have being champs. What we don't have is we don't have ammo, and they're shooting us here. Hurry up, caffeine. Get to the brain. Come up with something. I think we spar. God, we just lost one of our companions. I think we spar here as long as the death span doesn't look terrible. We have a lot of guys shooting still. I do see some javelins here in this 3rd division. It might be just enough to make a sally attempt. The enemy's very heavily weighted to the left side here of this city, right? It does make some sense that we could make a big C shape and envelop them. It'd be very risky, but I don't know. We might lose the slow attrition inside the city. We don't have ammo, and the enemy keeps up bringing up troops that do have ammo. I wish I could get a horse. Every horse dies, of course. When you have the battle size mod, that's a feature. In order to maximize the troops on the battlefield, when you kill a guy on a horse, oh shit, the horse dies too. They're bringing in a huge amount of elite infantry here. All right, hold the phone here. This is actually good, though. We want this, right? These guys are running into the fucking lion's den. Come get some. The Baron wants some. His sword isn't quite bloody enough, right? Let's bloody this shit up. This is amazing. What an amazing siege. It already feels like it's been an hour. I'm looking down. Thank God it's still recording. This 5th division. Let's spread these guys out so every guy can shoot. Give them hell. It's fighting on both ramparts. And they're making a big infantry push. The 1st and 3rd can charge. More units are coming in. Fuck. All right, 1st is going to cut off that engagement pretty easy. This 4th Corps, we can just drag these guys back here defensively. It's nice to have a defensive division to shove into the gate if we have to. The enemy's also coming down the ramparts at us now. This is starting to get chaotic. Let's see. Guards charging out the door. 16. We're starting to run low on troops here. I mean, relatively so. Right? We're probably down to 400 or 300, and it's getting bloody. George the Bandit King is in there wailing away. I love it. Kill him, George! 8th Division is low on ammo, but there's a bunch of good troops in that 8th Division as well. You ain't shooting, motherfucker. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Still got good health. God, they're bringing up fucking more line breakers. This fucking Vlandian force just won't quit. Die! Can I kill you already? Getting surrounded. Shit. Fuck. Is this epic enough for you, right? Like I think sometimes when there's a battle like this, suddenly I'll take a moment just to collect myself. I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's a whole lot of other people on YouTube having battles like this. I've never seen them if they are. These battles are just... I've never experienced battles like this. Of course, the reinforcement system has been something that's been developing throughout the course of this campaign. Let's jam these stairs up here. They're sending down troops, attacking our archers. And I'm starting to think it might make sense for us to go out. We're going to have to assess what they have out there. We'll see if they continue to be bottled up over here. We can have the enemy bottled up the same way that we were bottled up. Our troops were getting killed on the ladder. You're not getting in here, you fuckers. It'll be our turn to smash them while they try to get up the ladders. They're sending in a bunch of cavalry. Okay, those guys are bottled up good. There's javelins in there. I love it. It's carnage here. Another huge cavalry press. Get up. You know what? We've got a lot of troops here, and we're starting to get low on ammo. The 8th Corps is almost out. What we can do is get these guys outside. They will be able to shoot, right? Because we can give them clean line of sight. In here, a lot of guys can't shoot because it's so compacted. I think if we get units out here, get a couple, 3 infantry divisions, fucking charging at the enemy location, and then spread out skirmishers and archers outside, I think we can we can make this work. It's risky. But you guys aren't here to watch a 4-hour boring siege, right? You guys want drama? Let's fucking go offensive here. Let's finish these Valandians off in style. No risk, no reward. Kill that banner knight. No horsing. Anybody on a horse dies. There's a bunch of troops here at the gate. This is amazing. We're fighting our way out of the castle that we fought our way into, then took and defended. Now we're fighting our way out. I mean, this is the wildest siege I've been in a long time. Okay, we're blasting our way through here. Need a horse. Give me your horse, dude. I'm gonna kill your horse. Get up. All right. Yeah, they have a huge amount of forces on our left and hardly any on our right. Once we kill the guys on our left or right here, we'll be able to encircle the troops over there on the left. A lot of the cavalrymen are attacking basically what's left of our troops, still trying to get up the ladders. Let's just surround them here with ranged weapons and pound them. We should be able to do it efficiently. Of course, I've got to watch for more reinforcements. There could be more forces coming in, right? So we want a bit of a rear guard here. I'd love to get a horse, but easier said than done. These guys are starting to spread out. They do have infantry and cavalry here fucking resisting. You fuckers. Off your horse. I'm just going to go along here and carve apart everybody. Off your horses, bitches. Just horses neighing. You fucker, poking me in the face with your spear. There's a cons guards there. We gotta be careful of that guy with his glaive. Let's blow this shit up. And blow this Vlandian force up. You guys are fucking surrounded. Time to murder these boys. Kill them, boys. Let's get some archers set up here. We still gotta have something to defend our rear guard. The 6th Division is mostly out of ammo. George the Bandit King, I see him out there still. It's sick. I think that was him. This is 8th, 6th and 8th. That siege tower's cleared. There's a horse there. And this is why I kept this spear this whole time. God, this battle's been like a half hour. At least a half hour. Now our troops are starting to work. Skirmishers are scorching. I see crossbowmen reloading. Beautiful. Right? It's time to join the fray. There's infantry in here. I see little militia and stuff like that attacking our units down there by the horses. It's a huge chaotic scrum. And of course the reinforcement system, it's not working perfectly. Right? These cavalrymen would be a lot more effective if they could come off of this scrum and start charging everywhere. But this is what it is, right? And we're going to carve our way through them. They're still defending. It's not like they're just laying down their arms. And I'm going to carve my way through these horses to get to these Valandians. You guys can't hide behind your horses. We'll kill all your horses, all your crossbow, and all their cornered animals. Run! Everyone run! And the Baron is just maniacally attacking you with his axe. You imagine being in there? They'd all be peeing themselves. The most terrifying warlord and bannerlord, and he's in there just swinging his sword over and over again. Our troops have him completely surrounded. Now there's forces over here. I don't know if these are reinforcements or they're coming out of the city. The enemy might actually be getting into the city through the siege ladder. I see him climbing the ladders. They are. They're fucking rallying troops in here. Fuck no. No, we're not about to let you guys backdoor us. Back and forth this siege goes, right? They've got a bunch of archers that are rallying here. Fuck no. A fucking fiend champ in there, a sharpshooter. Fuckers. Right, let's get that 8th and 6th Corps in here. They're bringing more forces down the ladder. And I think what we'll do is get forces up on these ramparts here and close off their ladders. That way they're completely trapped. And then you're dead. There's a fucking fiend champion fighting to the end. Die, you bastards! These Valandians, man, you gotta give the system credit. It's fighting like a wolf. Kill these guys coming down the ladder. Oh shit, I have no health. I just looked down. Time to whip out the shield. Send in the vassals. Shit, somehow I got shot. Get up here, man. Block these fucking ramparts off. We're not letting the enemy get any fucking... get spread out at all. I'm down to 0 health. None. Little militia. Fuck you. Charge, boys. There's still a huge scrum down there of cavalrymen and our infantry surrounding them. Guys yelling, die, you bastard. And as long as the death spam doesn't look too bad, no reason to do anything other than what we're doing. And what carnage is there here? I thought the Battle of Ox Hall, like an hour and a half ago, was ugly. Look at this fucking shit, right? It is just incredible charnel house. Just dead horses everywhere. Make sure there's no... yeah, there's nothing really else we can do. No forces we can muster, no archers we can muster. All hands are on deck. We're swinging down to the last man. We must have under 300 troops now, right? Maybe under 200. But we've got the enemy basically surrounded, and apart from their horses getting in our way there, in this final stand of the Valandians, this battle is over. Now, I'm gonna fight in here, but I gotta be kind of delicate, right? I have literally no health, 0. There's a little tiny red sliver there. Talked about this before with the reinforcement system. It gets a little bit buggy at the end because the horses, the units don't know how to get through them. They won't attack a horse without a rider. And so the enemy's almost kind of stuck behind all their riderless horses here. So the Baron gets on a little beast slaying action here. I wish I had a machine gun right there. But I see our troops boring in like fucking maniacs, and this fucking battle is over. And this Vlandian Empire is over. This is it. This is their last stand, and frankly, they're getting slaughtered like pigs. They get an occasional kill, but they're still fighting back. But it's definitely a ratio that's efficient enough for us. It'd be nice if these horses just scattered. But look at this carnage. I mean, there's a mountain of bodies over here on this left side. There's still banner knights up here. Unbelievable. I wonder if the king is in here. It'd be awesome to behead the king at the end of this battle. Of course, the Baron could die, right? So I'm also trying to make sure I don't get stabbed. There's a fucking banner knight just in there, just defending to the end, holding up his shield. They're all vibrating like they're on one of those vibrating beds. Make sure there's no beer on it. So these guys can't move because there's horses in their way. And I'll try not to sigh too loudly in your ear, but man, when you have all the things at stake in this campaign and you fight a battle like that, the fuckers are trying to sneak into the castle again. It's stressful, man. It's really stressful. And of course, the Death for All mod maxes it out. Right now, I know Entho hasn't died, right? He's gaining skill points. How beautiful is that, right? He's gaining athleticism. But, you know, the Baron could get killed right now. Entho the Black could get killed. You just cross your fingers. Of course, the Baron's already lost one mistress. That's why he's so blood savage, right? They killed his mistress. Very bad decision. Fucking cock block Valandians. Cut off your head for that shit. And the game does an amazing job of just creating a scene of carnage. There's just bodies heaped, strewn about. I mean, real battle would be horrific, right? But when it's just a video game, at least we can appreciate it. It's almost art form. There's just, and they're all in different postures and slumped over, you know, a log over here. This guy's, you know, got an arm missing. That guy's, you know, piled on next to his comrade. The gate is smoking and busted open. There's dead horses mixed into it. It's tremendous carnage. I don't know if there's any other game that does carnage like this. We could add to it here by butchering some more horse meat. I think I'm going to look at the little scoreboard here and just kind of see how many is left. But you guys, I think, can forgive me speeding through the end of this stage here as our troops sort of work through the last, I don't know, maybe there's 30 or 50 Valandians that are in there. It's pretty clear that they're dead. You're dead! And it's basically a formality at this stage. The Vlandian Empire is no more, and indeed, they're outnumbered 10-1. Uh-oh. Damn, brother. Marco. I told him pretty recently, too, in a message, I'll keep you alive, dude. And then I said, kind of jokingly, while you're still going in first, Marco led the 1st Division here. We'll have a memorial for Marco Barrel Chest, one of our supporters. And I know he's been enjoying this campaign. And that's 2 deaths for you, Marco. So you're going to have to, have a little resurrection. Well, the Baron York, of course, was executed, and somehow he's still fighting. Maybe Marco can come back again. We shall see. Maybe he'll come back in a future campaign. We'll kind of see how things work out. I'll try to continue to get supporters into this campaign. And a scene of just obscene, absolutely insane carnage. Just dead horses and Valandian forces, and they really are fighting down to like the last 3 guys. I don't think they're stuck. I think they're just in there getting pounded, holding up their shield as our forces here liquidate what's left of the Valandians. Our troops are going up and down the ladders trying to get to them. I'm actually going to get a screenshot here. Hopefully you guys can forgive me. Get a little screenshot for the thumbnail as Baron York is ascended. And it's a big moment for Baron York, right? Baron York was ostensibly loyal to the Vlandian Empire, but just like Napoleon, they didn't consider him a true noble. They started learning more about his background, and then, of course, the Baron's character kind of was his fatal last flaw. All the executions and abandoning Allery was kind of the last straw for the Valandians, and to their own demise, right? Because you make the most terrifying guy in Calradia angry at you, and bad things happen. Now, I don't think there's any chance of losing this. That would be a tragedy if we lost this. Nope. The Valandians are gone. We lost Marco. Apologies, brother. I mean, that's why you're riding on the edge of your seat, right? Because the Death for All mod is cranked. The Baron made through that battle with a sliver of health. And some somber music plays, or I guess it's celebratory. It's a mix, right? It's a mix of emotions here as the Valandians in this campaign. The campaign that we started with, the kingdom that we started with, this is an epic Valandian campaign after all, is no more, right? We take all their loot, we chuck all their bodies into the river, and villagers get poisoned 10 miles downriver. And we will move on here. Marco, we rued the battle, but you also fought like a lion, and we're going to go ahead and say Marco was the MVP of that battle, led that 1st Division on the left flank. Outstanding job, brother. I appreciate your service. And again, we'll try to get you back in the campaign. And what a campaign it's been, right? Now, if you've been paying close attention, right? How many kingdoms are left? There are 4. They're the Khazate, the Asurai, the Sturgeons/Norse, and now the House of York, right? And so it's taken 50-some episodes to get to this stage, but what do we have? We now have the wars of the 4 powers. So strap yourself in, fellas, this campaign. I won't say it's just getting going because it's not going to be another 100 episodes, but there's some epic battles to come. There's some twists and turns. You know it, I promise you. How will Baron York's children factor into all this? How will Zuvan? How will these deadly Norse units with the Varangians? How will Baron York and his mistress, etc., factor into this? Wazuban, the legend of Wazuban, right? All of these different character elements in this, almost like a Bannerlord Game of Thrones. I'm trying to create it a symbol of chaos and carnage, or at least a feeling of chaos and carnage in this. And oops, we just deleted the Valandias no more. I'll just, we'll simulate the little crackling flames over their flag as it burns, and the Baron tramples over the departed Valandian lords, successful ultimately in the end. All right, you want to see more from this campaign? I'm doing my best to keep it thrilling, keep things twisting and turning. There's going to be more twists, I promise. Of course, we'll continue to try to get you Patreon supporters into the episodes. Now's your time to subscribe. If you want to see more, please hit that like button on the way out. I appreciate you, fellas. And with all that said, the Baron and I will see you next time.